Apple might have finally made a large screen phone that truly separates itself from the other models in the lineup with the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You can of course buy it now, and I'm gonna give you my reasons why you should buy the iPhone 15 Pro Max and not the 15 Pro. First reason has got to be the biggest change to the camera system on the Pro Max, which is the introduction of the new dedicated 5x zoom lens. If we take a journey back on how the zoom experience has been on the Pro Max iPhones, the first time we saw a dedicated zoom lens was on the 11 Pro Max at 2x, then the 12 Pro Max at 2.5x, and then both the 13 Pro Max and 14 Pro Max at 3x. 4 years later, and we finally see Apple stepping into the extended zoom range territory with a 5x dedicated zoom lens. And if you're coming from something like the 12 Pro Max from 3 years ago, you are getting double the distance in zoom range, and that's something you would definitely notice, especially if you're in situations where your previous iPhone just didn't have the reach you wanted, such as at concerts and sports games and events and so on. Although spec for spec, the display experience is near enough the same on both the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max, two things still make the display experience on the 15 Pro Max worth considering over the 15 Pro. And that is, of course, the larger 6.7-inch display compared to the 6.1-inch display, and also the slightly higher resolution at 2796 by 1290 compared to the 2556 by 1197 on the 15 Pro. Now, the general consensus is in, and has been for a while now, larger screen phones are more popular and are found to be more usable because of the bigger canvas, and also they tend to have a slightly higher resolution for a sharper overall display experience to match the advantage that comes with a larger display. Yes, I personally wish Apple allowed you to do more and experience with the software on the larger display, like a true split screen multitasking and more. But overall, thanks to things like the slightly thinner bezels on the front display, the display experience on the 15 Pro Max is probably still the way to go. Apple are not ones to usually mention the actual battery capacity being used in their phones, leaving it to be discovered once the phones actually have a teardown. But generally speaking, the larger Pro Max phones do give longer battery life compared to the smaller Pro. Now, it is a little bit worrying that Apple this time around made no mention of improved battery life compared to the previous models like the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but nonetheless, I'm confident in saying that if you want the best battery life, then the iPhone 15 Pro Max is still the way to go. As well as now having 8GB of RAM, the 15 Pro Max now starts with 256GB of base storage, meaning no more 128GB. Now, the 256GB storage model of the 15 Pro Max is still at the same price as what the 14 Pro Max at 256 was last year at £1,199. But the general principle of a higher starting base storage is something I'm all for. And especially now that the default pictures on the 15 Pro Max is now 24 megapixels instead of 12, you definitely need more storage for your pictures on your iPhone. That being said, which iPhone 15 model did I end up ordering for myself between the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max? Drumroll. It's of course the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I definitely can't wait to compare it next to the likes of the Samsung S23 Ultra and the Pixel 8 Pro, especially since these phones have been doing long-range zoom since as early as 2020. I'm eager to see how Apple matches up against them when it comes to the zoom performance. Now, because I've ordered a 15 Pro Max doesn't mean you should. And if not live already, I've got a video on why I think you should buy the iPhone 15 Pro instead of the 15 Pro Max here.